Okay, so now that you have done your interviews and your vocabulary circles, we're going to make some connections with what you learned today. So we're going to do some text-to-text, text-to-world, and text-to-self. And we have done these in reading, but we don't do them as often in math. But we can do them in both subjects, which is why they're so great. So, some text-to-text, and we're going to be connecting the text that we developed today using our vocabulary word to something that we've already read. So a text-to-text connection. What types of text-to-text connections did you come up with while you were doing your interview or your vocabulary circle or the semantic web? What are some of those connections?
Well, the person I interviewed had read an article that had to do with the metric system.
Good. So did they learn about that vocabulary word by reading the article?
They learned more about it.
They learned more about it. Good. What other text-to-text connections can you make?
Well, on Wikipedia, it said a meter was about 3 feet long.
Oh my goodness, Wikipedia. So you use the internet.
Yeah.
Good. Internet. And we'll talk about the uses that, ways that we can use Wikipedia and when we probably shouldn't use Wikipedia. So we'll talk about those different times and circumstances later when we're doing our technology lesson. Okay, are there any text-to-text, any other text-to-text? We have up with article, the internet.
The newspaper said that somebody won the 100-meter dash.
Oh, good. So newspaper, and we kind of connect that. You kind of made a text-to-world connection because people, when they run a meter dash, that's a text-to-world connection because you're not connecting it to yourself, but you're connecting it to something else that's happening out in the world. So sports, good. Text-to-world, perfect. What are some other text-to-world connections that we can make? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? What about
Well, in the news, when they, lots of news things, like when you're watching the news.
When you're watching the news. Good. So they'll talk about measurements when you're watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
What about in the weather? Do we sometimes talk about the metric system in the weather?
Yeah, if they're reporting like the temperature of Canada, they'll use the metric system for that.
Good. So we hear a lot about it in the news. Good. Now let's talk about a couple text-to-self. How did you connect these vocabulary words to your own life?
Well, when we've used a map to go up into Canada.
Good. So traveling. You used it when traveling. Good. Let's have one more, and then we will move on to our next lesson.
Let's see. We had to measure the length of a box in centimeters in another class.
Oh, good. So you're connecting it to other classes that you've been in.
Yeah.
Good. Other classes. Perfect. Okay, so I have included in the back of your journal a vocabulary journal rubric. I want you to review the rubric and then talk to a partner and discuss any questions that you might have, and then we will discuss it in a few minutes. Okay, so good job today on vocabulary journals.